company. And last 8 years numbers speak for themselves. But at the same time, he is very particular about ESG, particular about people, particular about the sector, the industry associations also. So not just he scaled a business for his own company, but he also cares and develops and contributes to the space. He is a long distance runner and a cyclist also. And today he is accompanied by his batchmate, Ashish Athavale. One important thing to know about Ashish Athavale is that he's a professional actor, besides being a brand person, a brand and marketing person. So, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for taking out time to share your life, your journey with us. I think this conversation is relevant both for relatively senior IRMANs as well as the younger ones. How to build sustaining organizations, organizations that last beyond us, and organizations that are going all over the world, Asia, Africa, wherever, right? So I think the session is going to be very engaging, interesting. And thank you everyone who has joined. Over to Ashish Athavale.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. And I'm a bit disappointed that you said only one important thing about me, but I thought there could be more important. That's aside. Okay.
That's the thing people will remember at the end of it.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So it's a wonderful opportunity, and thanks Alumni Association for this to partner Ram in this talk also. And I'm emphasizing the word also because I've had the pleasure and privilege of being with Ram, having known Ram, not just for years, but I would say decades, because we did our graduation together from College of Dairy Technology, Raipur. We also did obviously PGDRM together. And post that, I've had the pleasure and privilege again to be associated with Seedworks in a couple of projects in different capacities. So yes, I think it's a wonderful opportunity for me to introduce Ram here. Actually, he doesn't need introduction, and I will not repeat what has been mentioned in the poster that you had circulated. What I would like to mention for sure with this association is, I think Ram reflects in even the title of the project or this talk that we have selected, which is to do with enduring enterprises, because that is so very Ram in the sense, right from thinking to executing, monitoring, everything. So let me not go further around. I will just start with this saying that enduring enterprises, we are going to talk about largely in terms of Seedworks and Ram's experience in Seedworks. And while I'm tempted to start with Ram, please take us through your journey right from the beginning. But I think that beginning, we will do it at the end. What I would want to focus right now, immediately, is Ram's definition. What does Ram think of enduring enterprises? What is Ram's view on enduring enterprises? Because he has chosen for the topic for this talk. So Ram, what according to you is an enduring enterprise? Has Ram signed off? Switched off? Something has happened.
He was connected from, he's there. I mean, he had connected from two devices.
No, I'm putting off the other device. There was some problem.
Okay, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Should I start?
So, yeah. So the question that I wanted to start with, Ram, what is your version of enduring enterprises? How do you define enduring enterprises?
Okay. Thank you. Before I take this question, thanks to IRMA Alumni Association, grateful to Ritesh, Nidhi for giving this opportunity, and definitely Ashish for sparing his Saturday to have some conversations with me. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I think enduring enterprises, the classical definition, and I'm not going by the definition which most of us we know about it, is about sustainable revenues, profitabilities, innovation, and governance and things like that. Yes, while they are all those ingredients which are there, many businesses which tick some of these boxes don't become very aspirational from a people standpoint. We don't want to name the companies, most of us we know about it. People centricity, attracting talent, and continuing to be an aspirational organization is also one more thing. Some of this they don't get visible outside. People go through the motions in organizations. While all of that is important, revenue, sustainability, innovation, but are you building enterprises become institutions in themselves if there are certain aspects which are driven for a longer period of time and then they are passed on to generations? So I think that is something which I would say an enduring enterprise means. Basis my experiences, I've seen organizations, most of us, we have also seen about that. Yeah.
I think, lovely distinction that you brought out, Ram. Beyond the usual suspects of your revenue, bottom line, and so on, people centricity, and I would say employer brand. Being attractive for people to join or even associate in any which way. That I think if you brought in as key things to make an organization enduring. So
Yeah. So I think one more, just sorry. Yeah. I think organizations, whether you want them to make Ranbhumi or Rangbhumi, this is Devdutt Patnaik's one of those things. And many a times I read, there is a lot of, fighting which goes, fighting not literally in that sense, but are you making that a Rangbhumi or a Ranbhumi is something which, will depend on how enduring the organization is from a long term, apart from some of these. Yeah.
given the time, I'm still tempted to ask, so what does Rangbhumi or Ranbhumi mean to you in this case?
In the sense, people do come daily. Finally, there would be some outcomes also which they come, but they go very unhappy at the end of the day. They pull themselves again the next morning. Rangbhumi is where people enjoy what they are doing and they're really kind of looking forward to coming in. And those subtle things, one experiences as you walk in the organization, or again, I'm saying how aspirational the organization becomes from a people stand or a career standpoint of time. Right. That is what on a daily this thing. So that is what I say Ranabhumi and Rangabhumi.
Wonderful. That latter is what I'd wanted to hear, Rangabhumi, because that's a bit familiar space for me also. All right. Uh, Ram, just take us back into Seedworks a little bit. Tell us a little bit about Seedworks. And also, I think maybe you can cut through immediately to the moment that you started, which was, I think, 2017, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So people will have a little better idea. We will be on one page.
Okay, I think Seedworks as a company has been in this space for the last 25 years. Started as a vegetable business way back in, I think, 97, 98. And then, started as a vegetable business, sold off that vegetable business, started working on some field crops or row crops, as we call it. And then, of course, that was still a work in process, a tiny company compared to the vegetable business. And then that was the time this investor actually, came in. So we are basically a science company, a product first company. That is the industry in which we are in. And we build products in the categories of cotton, pearl millet, mustard, then rice, varietal seeds of rice, millets, rice, wheat, mustard, and a host of vegetable crops. Also are spread beyond India into Philippines, Singapore, and 4 African countries. And that's a little bit about what we are as a company.
Cool. So let's start with 2017, right? That's when you joined.
Yeah.
That's when you joined, right?
Yes.
So what were the like kind of biggest uncertainties or constraints when you were starting? Because it was a company in transition that you joined. I mean, from a family-run business to maybe now an investor owned or investor-driven company. So, what were the uncertainties or constraints when you started out with Seedworks?
Okay, so I think that was also by an investor, but a small investor and much lesser visible business. So I think the constraints is, as I told you, we are a product first and a science company. And then in this space, you have uh, multinationals who have been there for a long period of time globally, the likes of the Cortevas, the Monsantos, the Bayers, the Syngentas. On the other hand, you have large domestic companies who are there. So one of the uncertainty as I signed on the role, because I largely worked for some of these companies which I have mentioned. So there were two or three uncertainties. This was my first stint into a PE backed business. And everybody had their own gory tales about how the PEs will deal with the CEOs, how they don't understand the business, but then we'll keep pushing on revenues and numbers. And also that was one part. The second part, from a business standpoint, we were a very tiny company. We were roughly around 100 crore company, not making money. So I was worried that, look, I have signed this, but how do I face this large multinationals and domestic companies, because their capabilities, capacities, capital, what they have, and the brand, what they, have endured for a long period of time. So those were the uncertainties. One is in terms of dealing with a completely different set of people. Till such time I joined, I was largely dealing with my supervisors who also have been in this business, and supervisor, and so on. And the second part is in terms of whether we can really give a fight to some of these companies in the space. So that was an uncertainty, but the confidence what I had, all the conversations which happened with the investor before I signed on the dotted line, uh, they kind of said that investments are not a problem, and we will be a patient investors. We know how these businesses work because the product development cycles and all are longer and all. And the rest of the thing from a business standpoint, I mean, you have to come with your ideas on how to build that. Yeah. So
I'm sure that would have helped. I mean, that kind of a reassurance or assurance from the P that I mean, we are here for you. I think that would have helped. So, in this background, then, can you just take us through your few, say, how should I put it, make or break moments, if I may, in the company's journey?
yes, when I reflect back, and this is often I keep talking to people, the first, uh, uh, I mean, in hindsight, but it came naturally to me. See, when I joined this company, as I was telling you, this was an 100 crore company, not making any money, but also had 117 people. And obviously, some of them were at a senior leadership, great guys who were actually building that business. So the good thing which happened, and this is also one leadership lesson which I wanted to leave it to people. We also added 100 more people in the first year of my operation. I mean, people from a completely different backgrounds. I mean, because the people who were here were also largely tenured guys who were there for a long period of time. And obviously, the culture was slightly different. And at one stroke, I think you were getting some 98 odd people, if I remember it correctly, of different age profiles. Leadership team was augmented further. I think there were people who were already there, but we created different functions which were not existing. HR, for instance, marketing, probably quality control, and things like that. So if I look at it, the seamless integration of the people who were there and who were building this business and to the people who came on board on that year was one of the big make moment, if I have to say. Most often what we do and what I have also experienced seeing my colleagues and all, we want to change the entire thing, knock off people, bring all of your new ones. People don't have patience. What typically happens is you are neither doing anything good for yourself because the business completely gets disrupted, turnovers come down, profitability does not go up, and personally you are under pressure. And also, the whole chaos takes some time to settle, but you are also losing time. So I think I tried to get the best of who were there at that point of time, integrate them with this, and for that I did a project which we call as Project Swift, in co-creating the mission, the vision, and the goals of the company. So that exercise helped everybody got money. So that was a make moment. There was no attrition of the older people. So to that extent, the knowledge did not go off, and over a period of time we could build. So I think that was one of the biggest, what I would say, good things which I have done, and which actually helped the company, helped me individually, and helped us to take it better. Because there were two guys who were new, the CEO and the CHRO. And in the first year of my appraisal, the investor came back and told that we were actually prepared for a mayhem. Two new guys coming in, typically that is how they act. But I think reflecting back, so it is largely driven by the individual too, about what you think. And I always keep telling everyone who joins the company, don't, you don't have to create a revolution immediately. Absorb, learn, be patient for 6 months, and then slowly keep changing. We have changed a lot. We did multiple things which was not there in the organization earlier, but all of that was very well accepted and taken. So I think that was, had we not done it right, probably we would have lost 1 or 2 years, and then again would have built. That's a different issue altogether.
This example that you gave, Ram, I think it again reinforces your people reorientation, or rather people focus, that you always spoke about, even while talking about enduring enterprises. Because the make moment, as you put it, was about people. I mean, the kind of people that you joined, and I'm sure it may not have been easy, because you were still a newbie, so to say, in the whole matured category of agri seeds, and people coming from Bayer or Monsanto or Corteva, such big names, uh, and adding 100 more people. I think that itself speaks a lot. And I
Yeah.
have been witness to some of the people that you're talking about, and I know what it would have meant for you. All right. While all this has happened, I mean, now we are what? I mean, close to 700 crores, from 100 crores to 700 crores or 600
Yeah,
crores,
roughly around, yeah.
around that point.
As we close
Now,
this thing.
that's a fabulous trajectory, if I may. So with people added up, more people coming in, different kind of people coming in, how did you kind of balance ambition, realism with resources, brand credibility that you had, and the systems which were still evolving, because it was still a fluid state? I mean, you added 100 people. I'm sure that would have added more to the fluidity in the initial days, right? So how did you go about, balancing ambition and realism with all these fluidity, resources, people new, etc.?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. And given the size of our company, obviously those were some of those challenges. So I think one thing which I have learned, Ashish, is as an individual, you will have to build credibility in the industry in which you are in. But more importantly, at that point of time when you are asking for such huge investments, credibility of yourself with the board.
Yes.
That is extremely important, because 98 people investing in a 100 crore business, it's a huge ask. It is a huge ask. And this I'm only talking about people. There were infrastructure investments also, which we have done. So the trust and the credibility, what you build as an individual, even in those first 6 months, apart from, of course, whatever feedbacks they would have taken when they get me on board, is one of the important things. And the same applies to your own team members or the organization. Yeah, this guy is reliable. This guy is authentic. He's not bullshitting, and he's basically putting what is required. So I think that was what convinced them, and they said yes. While they said that they will, but you have to go with a plan, and then obviously ifs and buts. And in certain cases, you will have to stand up and say, this needs to be done, and there is no. I'm just quoting one example. Look, we are all employees of the company, and of course, you will have some, stock options and all, but largely the organization is. And the world there, the board and all, they were all, private equities, their compensation mechanisms are different and all. And the first proposal on the people side I came with that we kind of, uh, gravitated more towards the benefits like medical, term insurances, and all, which was not existing at that scale, and some of the leave balances. And obviously, while it was all adding to the cost, they were kind of surprised. I mean, I stood my ground. So look, what is that my employees will get at the end of the day, and where is that they will peacefully can focus? We don't want people to die. We don't want people to fall sick. But in the event of something happening, these are some of those guardrails which will help them to say that, okay, I will take this thing out of my mind and I will focus and deliver my best. That becomes very, very important again, from a people standpoint. From an infrastructure and related aspects in terms of research investments and all, again, you get good people on board, and they are also tenured people, and they have established pedigrees, and demonstration of that. That actually makes the job slightly easy. But at the end of the day, in my experiences, not only in Seedworks, in earlier one company which I worked, large company, people said that no, if you go and take some budget, those budgets will become 200%. They will never approve it. They will go and put some number. Fortunately, it never happened with me, because there was certain amount of credibility. ये बंदा बोल रहा है तो यार सही बोल रहा होगा. I mean, there is no point in chasing an ambition, which again, goes for a toss, and you also spend a lot of money and all. So I think these were some of my experiences as I navigated this process.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you made it sound easy, but it would have been as easy
Yeah.
as it sounds like. Um, you know, many, or in fact, most of the times in any business process, we say yes to many things, or at least we have heard examples of, saying yes to many things, which have made things happen further and all. But I think equally important thing which most ignore is the things that you say no to consciously when you choose not to do things. So what were those things which you consciously chose not to? Because there would be 10,000 things, no, on your job list, and you would have wanted to do everything. But I'm sure within that, there would be something which you consciously said, I will not do it. Because that would be an interesting thing to know. How did you decide, that, and what was it?
I think that is a very interesting question. And this was something which, because different board members who come have different perspectives. Obviously, the senior leadership also gives you many, many ideas. So one of the conscious thing, look, we were a tiny company. We were borrowing also money from the bank while we are doing business. And one of the things which I was very, very conscious, and we deal with something which is a live material. And obviously, if it perishes, then the whole thing gets written off, and your P&L has a big black, red this thing. One of the conscious thing which I did was that we were on a one of hand to mouth kind of a situation as far as supply to sales was concerned, because our ability to lock working capital rather, was very limited in the initial years. Though I would say that we have missed some opportunities in that process, but then that was a conscious call, because in seed business, if you build inventories and God forbid, if it is not sold off, it has actually written off. So it is always good to err on this side rather than on the other side, where you build inventories, your capital gets locked up, and banks just don't give you money just, if you want to, because obviously they will go through the balance sheet, they will have their own parameters. That was, on a working capital management and on the finances of that. That was point number one. Point number two, we also did not take bets in some of the crops which the multinationals had a long legacy. Corn, for example, would have required deep investments, and then a very long gestation period before even you can crack the riddle. But the investments which we made were investments on millets and mustards, which were more native crops. It is largely a level playing field compared to a corn. So I think, just to specifically tell you on finance management, or on the working capital management, or on the crops, these were some of the strict no-nos from my side. And let me tell you, companies in seed businesses have not collapsed because of revenues. They have only collapsed because of inventory write-offs. It's a live material. It just goes off until unless you can store it in an ambient condition. And sometimes if the product life cycles suddenly, probably, if there is a sudden death because of disease and a new emerging pest, there are different product concepts which come up. So I think that is something which I was very, very conscious of. And There were missed opportunities. People shouted at me. I was branded as somebody who is slightly more conservative in making bets. And I was telling, भैया पैसे तो मुझे आप लोग तो नहीं देते ना. You are not going to put in equity in this business. I mean, I'll have to manage through debt and I'll have to be conscious about it. I think that paid off in the initial years. But as we grew big, then we had the ability to take some,
Fair enough. I think the big no was to not lock in the capital in working capital or work through inventory build up, etc. Right? And the big bet that you
yeah.
took
Sorry. Yeah.
was the big bet that you took was in avoiding corn or seeds like corn, which were prevalent, which could have been a bigger market, but you chose to focus on things like millet and mustard, where you thought that there was a more native, they were
Quick
native and they
wins.
were
Quick wins.
more level playing field, right? So
One of the
yeah.
things, yeah, just to put it, I just coined this term, and I think obviously all of you would have. I call this as a management adventurism. Companies don't collapse, and just for the heck of it. So there is some bit of an adventurism which an MD or a senior leadership does, and then you are throwing the entire employees of the company under a bus. Failures are good to talk, but when they happen, you can also see the pain which multiple people go through it, and consciously one should avoid if you don't have the kind of a bandwidth in taking those bets.
I think these are some real insightful nuggets. I hope people who are in this call, I'm sure, if you understand the importance of it, if you understand the context in which this is being spoken about, I think these are some of the gems that you will come across in practical business practitioner sense beyond books. So thank you, Ram. Now let's say that you have gone beyond 2017, 18, maybe even 19. We haven't yet reached the COVID to 2020, but overall, Seedworks sort of started growing up, right? Seedworks started growing up. So when did the purpose and long term, because initial days would have been more of firefighting and making sure tactical things, right? More topical things. So when is it that the purpose and long term vision became more explicit rather than being implicit? Because these are two different things. So when was it that it became explicit to you, the long term vision and the purpose in Seedworks journey?
Yeah. So I think somewhere again, as we were building the business, we have also built a credibility with all the stakeholders. We were always known as a decent company in terms of, the governance aspect. When I say governance, one is the corporate governance, but more importantly, in our business, IP is also a very big issue, which companies grapple with. The tiny companies and the large companies always have a respect for that because you build your products, you create your own IP. So as we were building, I think one is you build your business or organization, bring it to a certain level. But at certain point of time, you should also start influencing the ecosystem in which you are operating. That is when I say, what is the purpose of the seed industry per se? Why is that? And there are two things which we did. So me and my leadership team members, some of them, who were really, also looking forward to contributing to the larger cause, we picked up items where we were actively participating in the seed industry. And over a period of time, we were being referred to in the respective areas as somebody who can actually contribute for the larger industry costs. I mean, advocacy or picking up some pain points of the industry, or probably, sensitizing them of certain aspects of the industry, which obviously in the changing scenario are not the right ways of doing things and things like that. So, and that is important for any organization or individuals working in this in the organization, that the purpose and I would say even mission what you have set up sometimes also becomes the larger this thing of the industry. Parts of it you will have to be influencing. For that, you will have to keep demonstrating it consistently, and then obviously the industry comes to you and then looks forward. So I would say maybe 3-4 years down the line, we were seeing that. And today I'm so happy to say either in digital space or in supply chain space or in terms of the government regulatory efforts and any of these aspects, I think Seedworks is one of the members of the industry which is actually consulted and our opinions are taken. And then obviously my leadership team goes and represents in some of those areas. So I think that is what it is. Yeah.
Let's talk about something which maybe which could have been and even could be a bit more uncomfortable. Uh, any one decision, Ram, that you had taken which was basis incomplete information, but delaying was not the option in the sense I will wait for the best set of information to come in, then only will I start working on it, etc. What was that moment? What was that, and how did you decide that?
This was about acquiring a business in millets and mustard. And I should say that we acquired this business and we did not have, when you do a business, you obviously do a lot of due diligence around finance and then obviously, but our due diligence largely in the seed business is also with respect to the pipeline about the different stages of the R&D strength, which is in terms of germplasm, the ability to build products and things like that. And also somewhere the current products, how long will they go, and are they in the fag end of their product life cycle, or are they kind of still some of that information again was partial because we were also in a rush to acquire, because we were also losing time because we had to build, add two more crops and then start building research and all. That decision today at this point of time, obviously, we have built products and we are back in the reckoning, but there were years of pain which I had to endure through because we have put equity. I mean, we have acquired that business means, we have put in the money. Paybacks, what we were expecting did not happen in that period of time, which we thought that quick wins and it will keep going on and all. The product had a sudden death that we did not actually anticipate because going back now, it looks like the product was obviously on the maturity to peak. So I think that was one business. Vegetable business, we have invested a lot. We invested on a different business model, assuming that we will in-license products because we had a huge equity of the US Agri-Seeds brand. Because as I told you, the earlier version was a large dominant vegetable business. And we thought then the R&D products would come and we will seamlessly integrate. That journey also took slightly longer time than what we were anticipating. So I would say, yeah, from that perspective, given the timeline in which we were expecting the results to happen, it did not happen. So to that extent, one can say that, of course, the businesses continue and now they are actually okay. But I would personally, I feel that, decision made on some half information, some models did not actually work for me.
Well put. Let's talk about risk. I mean, what do you think about risk? Which are the risks worth taking? How do you avoid it? I mean, any view on that, on risks per se?
Yeah, again, as I told, the biggest, risk in this business is, the inventory buildup, which obviously happens on forecasting and, related aspects of, today there are multiple tools to do a forecasting, but still, because most of our business, while you do whatever it is, there is a lot of interaction with the environment. And to that extent, there are implications which happen suddenly, without us having the knowledge or in the last minute. So I think the risk which are avoidable, I would say, is in terms of this whole cash flow, working capital management, largely resulting in inventories, your capex, and related aspects. I think that is, and the second one is in terms of the research investments. Now, research investments can be written off at a certain period of time because the gestation periods, as it is, are 5 to 7 years. And if you are wanting to bet on something which you don't know also whether there will be a regulatory approvals on things like that, better avoid it for companies like us who are very tiny. I'm talking about, the biotech gene editing. You can always in-license those trades at a royalty and you continue to do on a conventional plant breeding. That was a position which we have taken. To just let you know, Monsanto long back, 1974, was actually a chemical company when it started doing work on biotech. Two CEOs have changed, and then the first product got launched in 1990. Huge investments with gestation periods and all, not for tiny shots. So I think one is the operational part of it, one is the risk on the bets, what you want to do on a long-term kind of an investment. So I would say these are something which are, kind of avoidable until unless you have lots of cash and you say, okay, I'm ready to burn it out and I don't care.
Let's talk about you, because while navigating, guiding this whole journey of Seedworks, I'm sure you would have also changed, as in your role, your leadership style, and many other things. So, I mean, has it changed when you go from building to now scaling up, or maybe having reached this? Has your role, has your leadership style, any of these, has it changed?
That is something which my team has to answer, but let me just attempt it. What typically happens is when you are building an organization in the initial stages, and this I have seen it also from my experiences in Pioneer DuPont. When I joined as a sales director, we were a relatively small company. You are completely hands-on and you are everywhere there in the organization. I mean, you would know everyone by their first name. I mean, across the functions, because obviously it's small. As you build the organization, today we are around 400 and plus people from where we were. These are only full-time employees, and then there are associates and some 2000 and also. While you would like to do all of that, it is not possible. So that is one bit of it which happens. But also deliberately, you would also try to not poke your nose on every small thing.
One day
Do
it
we have
was
somebody's mic
really
on? Do
with
we have
itching.
somebody's mic on?
Otherwise, it is okay.
Mr. Murray, Mr. Emmanuel Murray, I think.
A host can mute him.
Just trying to locate him.
No, I think it's Mr. Murray.
Are you able to use the trees and yes, and
You can mute.
Why is it not happening?
Acha, he has left.
Oh, okay.
So
Cool.
So I think that is what happens, but I think consciously and very deliberately you also have to offload, because you can't also be seen everywhere and you should not be seen. So to that extent, that empowerment and that delegation, what you do to your leadership, and then it gets. So you are slightly off. This is internal to the organization. Externally, you play a bigger role in terms of advocacy, in terms of probably industry issues, in terms of not only going beyond the industry in some of those common issues and all. So I think that is something which at least I have experienced in this journey of 9 years. One is internal and then one is external. You are now actually representing the industry, or you are also participating in forums which are not only about seed but the other industries, for also learning, but also as well giving your viewpoint. But let me tell you, always this challenge is always there, because boards and everybody's expectations is that you have to be both. I mean, you also have to be operationally so this thing that you should know about it, but that is a fine balance which needs to be done. But I think this is the change which at least I have witnessed, deliberately done.
If I have to summarize it, it would be more like from hands-on to more closer to hands-off, and from hands-off to maybe more macro, where you represent the industry, represent the company, be the face of the company. Fair enough. Okay, one big often used word and maybe abused word is customer centricity, So how do senior leaders, and I'm saying you, your senior leadership team, how do you stay close to the customer? Because you're not there in the field every day, or like you used to be, probably dealer, distributor, blah. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. So how does the senior leadership still stay close to the customer, end customer?
I think, one thing, Ashish, in my formative years, I've also worked with companies which are non-agri. One of the things about the agri input space, and largely with the seed and the crop protection space, and even for that matter, crop nutrition space, is you don't have a choice but to be there, because sales here, demand generation is not a function of marketing, but it is a function of sales. I mean, there is marketing always, for that matter, because your farmer who is buying your product will also evaluate it on the ground. And so to that extent, some of those processes which we run in the company, forces everyone to be there at least during those periods with the farmers. I mean, the whole product evaluation process is on the ground where all the leadership team participates, including the MD and the CEO, different crops and geographies and things like that. So by design, there are certain processes where people go and participate, and they have to participate because you will have to figure out whether your product is really working with those farmers in the way you were expecting and all. So I think that process actually helps a lot of this thing. Second, then of course, you have your market visits, and today because lot has evolved, you will have different other ways to connect to the farmer. Way back when I started my career in the ag industry, those were media dark markets, and then there was not much of an internet penetration and digitization and aspects of that. So it was always go to the farmer and then understand from him, fill few pages and stuff like that. So I think at least this industry clearly forces you to do, because if you don't, then you can't, your product concept and the related issues with the product concepts what you have developed and how it is figured, you can never figure out. I mean, you can never do that because we don't create products in the lab, or we don't create products in the factories, that for that matter.
Fair enough. Ram, I think we are at 5:45 already, and Nidhi, you will have to tell us, otherwise we can go on. But I have few questions. I'll just reprioritize them and ask you. Do you want to talk about, governance ethics, which is more to do with the right way at Seedworks and also things related to ESG?
Okay. I think yes. So I think on the ES and G part, governance, the corporate governance in terms of all those which we know about it, the right way of doing things. There are 9 values which we have. So I think that is something, and the other aspect which we included was safety, which we are saying that is a commitment and not a choice. I mean, safety in the way you do things, and our roads are basically what they are, and of course factories and all. So I think that is something which we continuously keep training and kind of doing multiple programs around that. Safety still we continue to persuade, cajole and coax people to do that. But on all the other ways, there is no compromise. There is a zero tolerance. And how you go and demonstrate that, and there have been infringements which have happened, and penalizations have happened, lessons learned, but we also share those kind of stories. But I will tell you, this is a huge challenge which organizations all go through it. The right way of doing things, integrities, values, and the related aspects of it. That is one part of it. So this is a continuous one, because every year you are getting new people. People come from different cultural backgrounds. What is good in a context there is not right in a corporate one. So I think, though I would still say that we'll have to continuously keep a watch on those things and keep sensitizing them. I mean, the right way of doing things and the safety aspect, governance. Environment is something which we are talking now for the last few years. Most of us, we are talking about it. For agriculture, actually, this is an existential crisis, because we impact and climate impacts us. So what we are doing in environment, though let me tell the audience that today the farmer is not being mandated by the government of India to follow certain practices. The government of India at this point of time has taken a position that they will continue to train them, guide them, and motivate them to follow those kind of things. And generally, the seed businesses are not mandated. The reason why we do it, and we strongly feel that we should do it, not for getting some accolades and this thing, because we are also impacting the climate. Today, some of the investments what we have made on rechargeable bore wells, creating water harvesting ponds, and alternate energies, actually it benefits us. I think day before I had a huge the board was getting trained on ESG by PwC and all. So some of them are no brainer, and companies should do it because it helps the companies. Are there initial capex investments which have to be made? Definitely they have to be made, but in the long run it will be good. Certain aspects of it, like plastic waste management and some of the other things, you'll have to do it because you are also going and impacting the larger ecosystem by doing that. Now, there is no immediate benefit, there is a cost, but then that actually helps because you are editing. So I think ESG for anybody who is in agriculture, I would say don't do it for compliance, do it for yourself, because companies will usually benefit it. Sometimes the benefits will be accrued over a longer period of time, and sometimes, and then this whole societal aspects in terms of, are you paying fair wages? How are you treating your, all those workers and, aspects of it? Because unfortunately in India, that still continues to be a huge challenge, especially on the rural hinterlands. So, and I think Seedworks being a relatively tinier company in the ecosystem, I think we have taken very big steps, and thanks to my investors, both of them who were also, very encouraging for us to walk that path.
Right. Ram, again,
Ashish, can I just
yes, please.
insert one idea, which is do ask the audience if they have questions, and then
Yes.
allow them to take those
Yes.
questions. So we
I'll
still
just
have
ask one
30
question and
minutes.
then maybe we can start with the Q&A.
Sure.
Something that I had said that I will ask in the beginning, I'll ask what I'd asked in the beginning, I will ask in the end. So Ram, please take us through your journey and with focus on IRMA, and more importantly, given the audience, uh, its influence on your life and career, including Seedworks, what you do, what you don't do.
Very good question, Ashish. We both entered IRMA at the same time. In
We
fact,
entered
I
in the
say
same auto
the
also.
same auto.
We are entered in the same auto of IRMA.
Yeah. So, like people of my generation, I should say, uh, I was a small town boy from a Raipur, Bhilai. Most of you now would have heard about it. IRMA for me was very, very overwhelming in the initial, days. Uh, you know, the reason being, you also interact with people who come from backgrounds of pedigreed colleges, and then, large metros, exposure to, oh, I mean, probably different other aspects of life, both culturally and also, I think it becomes a little overwhelming. But over a period of time, definitely, I mean, I am ever grateful to what IRMA has actually provided. It builds a lot of confidence to deal with the external world, the pedagogy, what we go through, the interactions, what we have, and the exposure, what we give. Probably by 2 years, मैं तो मतलब रामू बन गया gentleman जैसा बोलते हैं ना, वैसा type from very rustic small town boy to slightly more polished, and then obviously you start evolving. One of the things which again IRMA leaves us deeply with that thought is the whole value systems. Value systems are driven individually, but there is also a huge influence on the institutions and uh, you know uh, kind of this thing what you get through, and that also had a huge impact over a period of time. Then you start building what it is. But today I feel, looking back, and this is a bias which I deliberately don't try to uh, because I deal with in the industry in which I am, people come from hinterlands. So I'm very conscious that language should not be a barrier for someone to progress. अंग्रेजी नहीं आती है तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, unfortunately, again, and similarly some of the other things what we kind of experience. So yeah, I think IRMA, definitely I owe to IRMA largely whatever I am at this point of time, and I told about the value systems, and obviously building that kind of a confidence to deal with the external world. Excellent 85 weeks, if I have to say.
Super. Sounds familiar also. So, okay, at this stage, I will take questions. देवम यार, तुमने बहुत सारी इंग्लिश लिख दिया, सीधा सीधा सिंपल सा सवाल पूछ लो राम को, अपने से ही पूछ लो, मैं नहीं पढ़ रहा ये सब इतना.
अह, ठीक है सर, मैं ही पूछ लेता हूँ. पहली बात तो सर, दिस इज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट कॉन्वर्सेशन आई एवर हर्ड. और द वे आशीष सर हैज आस्क्ड क्वेश्चन, आई हैव गॉट टू लर्न लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स
अरे
इसके. सर मेरा पहला सवाल इज अ सिंपलर वन कि व्हाट इज योर डिसीजन मेकिंग स्टाइल, मतलब फॉर अ बिग स्ट्रैटेजिक डिसीजन हो या रेगुलर डिसीजन हो. नाउ सिंस यू हैव बीन हैंडलिंग सच अ बिग मल्टीनेशनल मतलब organization for this long, what factors do you look into, and what are some of the tips you want to
अच्छा,
give? This?
Acha, mera decision making style, and often sometimes my team members also kind of maybe, I have a very strong bias towards speedier decision making. I say that आपको कभी भी 100% information नहीं मिलेगा. But not making a decision is kind of a crime, and not making it in a period of time. Obviously, you can keep data, beat data to death, evaluate. So मेरा हर समय वो bias रहा है personal and also professional decisions में. The speed of decision making is something which I feel where most of the organizations kind of spend tons and tons of time, bureaucracy and all. तो मेरा डिसीजन मेकिंग में मैं 100% कभी देखने की कोशिश नहीं करता हूँ. So there is some bit of an intuition. Obviously, there is some information which you will ask for, but broad level पे अगर information मिल गया है तो I think one should make a decision. And I'm telling you, you would not go completely wrong. It is not that it will be a case of 1 or a 0. So that has been my style. Well, there is some feedback also which I have received on that aspect of it. Maybe इधर उधर गलतियां भी हुई होंगी उसमें, but they were not catastrophic mistakes where the whole thing got yeah.
हाँ सर, लेकिन बट देन व्हेन यू हैंडल सो मेनी पीपल देन दे ऑलवेज पिन पॉइंट कि ऐसा भी कर सकते थे, वैसा भी कर सकते थे, और रेट्रोस्पेक्ट दे मेक यू रेट्रोस्पेक्ट. देन हाउ डू यू बट व्हाट आर सम ऑफ द, ऐसा एक ऑप्टिमल पॉइंट तो होना चाहिए, मतलब हाउ डू यू बैक योर
नहीं,
लॉजिक?
देखिए, आप डिसीजन मेकिंग के लिए डेटा पॉइंट्स इकट्ठा करेंगे, एनालिसिस करेंगे, मीटिंग्स करेंगे, सब लोगों के राय लेंगे, बट ये इतना नहीं होते रहना चाहिए कि बस उसी पे चल रहे हैं. एंड आई एम टेलिंग यू, एंड दैट काइंड ऑफ इरिटेट्स, एंड आई हैव नॉट सीन दोस ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस आल्सो प्रोग्रेसिंग वेल. वी आर एक्चुअली नोन फॉर आवर डिसीजन मेकिंग एंड वी हैव नॉट गॉन रेट. ये क्या होता है, देन देयर इज अ कल्चरल सेटिंग व्हिच गोज डाउन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सेइंग दैट यार डिसीजन लेना पड़ेगा. यस, डेटा पॉइंट्स रहेंगे, आप ऐसा नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि आज एक आया आप आज ही डिसीजन लो, बट देयर हैज टू बी अ फाइनाइट टाइम फ्रेम. एंड आई एम टेलिंग यू, देवम, when we work with large multinational companies in this business today of inking up some kind of collaborative agreements, they appreciate. And unfortunately, they are helpless. They say, यार हमारे यहाँ तो डिसीजन लेट होता है सर, आप पकड़ के रख लीजिए 3 महीने होगा. Beyond a point of time, it is bureaucracy, and that is something which one should not encourage, because वो ना cultural हो जाता है फिर organization में कि मैं बैठ जाऊंगा इस मेल पे या इस नोट पे, and then I don't care about what. Where is that urgency, that sense of urgency which one has to drive, and everybody needs to be aligned. So I would say, this is not about a leader. It is about the cultural aspect of the organization, that how decisions are made, how timelines are respected, and how people actually get in to make that decision.
All right. Cool. So Devam, I hope you're good with that. Anybody else? Any other question? Yes, Ponu. Welcome, Ponu.
Hey, Ponnu, what
Ponu,
question
you're on
do you
mute. You're on
Thank you,
mute,
Ponnu.
Ponu.
Yeah. Yes. I have unmuted. Good. It was very good listening to you. Venkat, I have 2 questions. One is with so much of wisdom and experience you gained, especially in this space in the last after you joined from in Seedworks. If you had to go back to day one of Seedworks with so much of wisdom back to the past, what you would be doing different for the same organization?
Good question. Okay, so yeah, I'll have to think through, but maybe again, risk taking, as I was telling you, is also an individual's this thing. While organizations as it is, I would say probably at that point of time, anyway, there were a lot of investments made. Had we been better off if we would also participated in one of the largest crops in corn, that maybe today we would have seen the results. Because I was always kind of thinking that this bet should not be taken. These are the kind of investments, the paybacks will be longer and all. So probably from that aspect, I would say, in terms of pure business.
Okay, my second question is little touching towards the personal side. Is seed industry as glamorous or visible if you had been a CEO of FMCG company of similar size?
Not at all. Not at all. This is the most non-glamorous industry. I keep telling everyone.
So as
So
a
I would also tell you.
as a professional, do you think that you could have You could have picked up a better job. That was my actual question.
No, okay, that's a very interesting question. Let me tell you, Ponu, I don't know whether you have tracked my career path. And this is a very good question, I think, for the audience also. And I'm not trying to take any brownie points, but see, I worked in Monsanto, and then I made a comeback to the FMCG stroke telecom stroke, whatever you call it, the non-agri industry. I was the marketing head for the then Birla Tata AT&T, which then became an Idea Cellular. Glamorous one. You are hobnobbing with the stars on Friday evening, the Chiranjeevis, the Mallika Sherawats, उस समय वो थी. We used to do a lot of things. But somewhere I'm telling you, one year down the line, थोड़ा सा वो ag industry का नशा भी चढ़ गया था. I was feeling, and this is my personal feeling, that I am not able to connect to the larger this thing, what is happening. And then again, I switched back to the industry, agri industry. So that was a conscious choice which I made, because otherwise I could have been in telecom, from telecom, God knows, whether in telecom or wherever it is. But that kind of a discovery of what you want to do in life and what is, that happened to me for after a long period of time. But then definitely that happened. So I think that was a choice. And obviously it is not at all a glamorous industry, I can tell you. Yeah, you are very right.
Oh, interesting that Ram recalled Mallika Sherawat. So good to know
Arey bhai,
that.
Mallika Sherawat and Imran Hashmi, all of them, every
No.
Friday
It's
we
okay,
had
Ram.
this,
It's
meet the
okay.
stars
I
and all.
understand. Ram, it's okay. It's okay. I understand. All right. Professor Balaji. Professor Balaji would like to ask a question. Yes.
Yes.
Hey,
Butheda, good
good to
on,
see
sir.
you all.
Good evening,
Thanks,
sir.
Ram. Thanks, Ashish, for this conversation.
Thank
I can
you.
recognize some of you by your names. Most of them I don't recognize. Uh, Two very quick questions, Ram. One is, enduring organizations are aspirational. I'm taking from there.
Yes.
What are the aspirations? Number one. Number two, whose aspirations matter?
Enduring organizations, the aspirations I would say is of, are you able to attract talent? Are people looking forward to the organization to join and then build a career? So I would say aspirations of the people. Because I'm saying enduring organizations will tick some of those boxes which have to be done anyway in terms of the revenues, the profitabilities. But still, at some point of time, we don't want to take names, but some of the organizations have just fallen flat, and then they disappeared from the ecosystem. So, and I mean, this is what I strongly feel. Of course, governance being the other aspect of it, but I'm saying that those are non-negotiable things. So people's aspirations, that yes, I want to go, I want to build a career, I want to contribute. I feel that this is a good organization for me to spend few years.
Thank you very much, Ram. Like to
Thank
have
you,
a
Mr.
longer
Balaji.
conversation with you on this.
Thank you so
We'll
much.
see how to make it happen.
Yes.
Great
All right.
pleasure to be with IRMAN all the time.
Thank you, Professor
Thank you,
Balaji.
sir.
Thank you so much.
Any other question? Anybody else? Doesn't look like. I'll just, maybe we can end the session, but I just had one question which I had just dying to ask Ram. Ram, I mean, since we are talking about whoever is here, all belong to IRMA. I mean, if there are any two or three things, two or three principles or whatever they should internalize, even at this stage, whether you are you are a student today or you have joined the company, something that they should internalize in the context of building enterprise, lasting enterprises or enduring enterprises today, because
I think
it's
Ashish, I'm trying to. Yeah.
because for me, if I go back to our when we were students, frankly, I wouldn't. At least for me, I can say that I wouldn't have thought about enduring enterprises and all that. I wouldn't have even thought about it. For me, मेरा job कहाँ लग रहा है वहाँ पे? I mean, that would have been my first and
अरे
probably
भाई
the only.
देखो, yeah.
So, but now with hindsight and with your depth and width of experience, if people have to absorb something, because it will be helpful, no? If somebody can do it, why not? So, what would be those couple of things that they should be aware of? They should actually actively, consciously try to look for.
Yeah. I think good question. Let me attempt to answer this. So I think, Ashish, all of us, we have experienced. Life will throw you always certain things which you would not anticipate. And वो career planning and then मैं ये बन जाऊंगा बचपन में is something which we all aspire for, but end में कुछ और बन जाते हैं. तो
Tell me about it. Yeah.
So मतलब अब वो डेयरी टेक्नोलॉजी क्या बाद में एग्रीकल्चर में काम कर रहे हैं, तो थिंग्स लाइक दैट. अच्छा चलो इरमा हो गया. So I would clearly say one thing which I leave, because I have also a grown up daughter and son. Whatever you then get into, try to do justice with full honesty and put all efforts. There is no point in cribbing that I have got to this place, and I'm upfront telling that there are many colleagues of ours at that point. अरे मैं कहाँ इरमा में फंस गया यार, मैं तो इंजीनियरिंग, मुझे तो IIM में रहना. There's no point. It doesn't solve any of your problems. Similar is in organizations too. So whatever is thrown up to you, if you do full justice, and then if you can put in efforts, there are definitely pathways which will open for you. Because I was not a great individual, probably I am an above average student. लग गया इरमा में कर लिया है, उसके बाद jobs में भी लगे. So in jobs also I have seen there are outstanding people who are far better. But वो क्या होता है, you know, applying yourself in whatever you do, and like you are obviously, you have transformed into an actor now from what you have been doing. So I think whatever is thrown up to you, I think do it with full honesty. Definitely there will be. Second one, I'm just trying to put in words. ये वाले शब्द हम कभी सुने भी नहीं थे, but रहते जरूर थे. I think we should be very authentic and true to ourselves. There's no point in putting up a facade, because then you are living in two worlds, and that is something which will always help in organizations. There might be some small blips here and there, but in the longer term that definitely helps, because फिर आप दो दुनिया में नहीं जियो. So that is what, and of course, the value systems are very
clarity, conviction, and
yeah.
What I mean in cricket parallel, if we say आपको bowler ball डालता है आपको, you can't predict what that ball would be, but whatever ball is bowled at you, I think you do your best. कई बार तुक्के में छक्का लग जाता है, कई बार आप आउट हो जाते हो, but play the ball that is bowled at you.
Exactly.
You can't expect कि बॉस मेरे को तो फुल टॉस ही मिलना चाहिए था तभी मैं मार सकता था. It can't work that way. So yeah, I think it's been fabulous, Ram. I mean, talking to you, and I'm sure participants here would have benefited. I'm sure they would have benefited, and this is something which I would have wanted to. So I will. If there are people who are actively in the IRMA system right now beyond alumni, I would want them to go through this recording, because this is, to me, is masterclass in practical management beyond books. If we can put it in a proper construct somehow and get Ram and people like Ram, and there are enough width and depth of experience available with us. If this doesn't help people, if this doesn't inspire people, I don't know what else will. Which I think IRMA should actively start cultivating this alumni wealth that is available to them. I think it is mostly 99.9999% untapped. So if this voice can reach IRMA, I think I'll be happy. I think that's all from my side. Ram, is there anything else that you might want to add before we finally say bye?
No, thank you so much. I think for your time, especially Ashish, and thanks a lot to, obviously IRMA Alumni Association. I think they have created this platform. Now, how the institute takes it forward is something which, they have to reflect on, but I think wonderful. Thank you so much.
So thanks again. Thanks everybody. Nidhi, Devam, Ritesh, everybody who has been involved in this. Devam, yaar, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll sleep very well tonight. So thanks, my friend. Thank you for your kind words, and thank you everybody. Nidhi ma'am, over to you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Dr. Venkatram, and thank you, Ashish, for an excellent moderation and excellent sharing. As you said, very well, very inspiring and engaging session. And we will be putting up the recording. So it will be available not only to the IRMANs, but to the larger world. And we'll be open to any inputs on how some of the nuggets of the wisdom can be, there were a lot of quotable quotes, Ranbhumi to Rangbhumi, management misadventure, excellent conversation.
Management adventurism. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So lovely to have you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye and have a wonderful weekend. Bye.
Bye-bye.